My manuscript on the pilot study got rejected again.
Bummer. What did the reviewers say?
They didn't even evaluate the science. They just said we didn't describe the methods well enough.
Well, the methods are what give the data their meaning.
I get that, but they asked about all kinds of things that aren't related to the experiment.
Man, that's rough. In light of the so-called reproducibility crisis, though, more scientists are emphasizing the importance of the details.
True, but I thought we provided a decent description of our protocol. How am I supposed to know the level of detail they're looking for?
It's challenging. There are established guidelines you can use to help you focus on variables that may be important, though.
Oh, really?
One example is the ARRIVE guidelines, which stands for Animals in Research Reporting in Vivo Experiments, which are designed to help improve reporting of research using animals. Here, let me pull them up.
Sounds like something I could use right now.
Here you go. These are just some of the examples for details to mention in the methods. For instance, because this was an animal study, it's important to make sure you explain the ethical review and animal care oversight the experiment had.
Of course. We always submit our vertebrate animal experiments to our university's Animal Care and Use Committee before starting them.
Great! Some of the other categories of variables include study design, experimental procedures, experimental animals, housing and husbandry, sample size.
These all sound obvious, and they are things we described.
Did you describe them in detail, though? Take housing and husbandry, for example. This asks about the type of facility and whether the facility is specific pathogen-free or not. How were the animals housed, and at what temperature? What food was used?
Oh, well, that's more detail than we reported, but the good news is that all those things were recorded anyway, so we can report them now. The facility is specific pathogen-free, monitors the temperature, and uses standard chow.
Good, but we can even get more detailed. Take food, for example. Rather than reporting standard chow, it would be even better to report where it was purchased and the diet number, and how often it was fed.
Okay, that still sounds doable.
You likely have a lot of the information available anyway, so just be sure to report it. Look further down. They also mention design aspects, like how animals were allocated to each group. Hopefully, they were all allocated randomly. And here, whether or not any of the staff were blinded to what conditions the animals received.
Oh, well, that's more complicated.
But important. One of the purposes of the ARRIVE guidelines is to promote reproducible, transparent, accurate, comprehensive, concise, logically ordered, and well-written manuscripts.
At some point, though, we will be reporting the most mundane details for every single thing that is related to the experiment. If I report all of this, my methods will go over the word limit, and the paper will be rejected. If I keep it within the word limit, it'll be rejected because the methods are insufficient.
Word limits can be frustrating, but you can always create an online supplement. You can even post and reference detailed methods in separate online registries and archives.
Come on, no one looks at those. How would that really help anything if no one ever reads it?
Well, that may or may not be true. Thorough scientific reporting using ARRIVE guidelines is supposed to help improve the communication of research findings to the broader scientific community. The details may not matter for the internal consistency for your study, but they might matter to another scientist interested in the topic, or even when comparing differences between two studies.
How so?
Consider someone trying to reproduce the results of a study looking at calorie restriction and energy balance. In the original study, the authors see a dramatic decrease in body mass, and in the other, they do not. The two studies use rats that are the same breed, same age, and same sex. On the surface, it looks like the results is irreproducible. But it turns out that the facilities were kept at two different temperatures. One was thermoneutral, so the rats were not using as much energy to maintain body temperature, whereas the other one was below thermal neutrality, and those animals were using a bunch of energy to maintain homeostasis. Then the discrepancy may not be because the studies are irreproducible, but rather that they are very different studies. The temperature detail is only important when comparing between studies. The results of each study individually can still be valid.
That makes sense for temperature, I guess. But I remember reading a study that said whether the animal handlers were male or female made a difference, or that it mattered whether the animal handlers had dogs or cats at home. How do you record that? The list of variables seems to be never ending.
You probably can't catch everything, so just record and report what you can. The ARRIVE guidelines are meant to guide authors as to the essential information to include in a manuscript and not to be absolutely prescriptive. They are also meant to be flexible to accommodate reporting a wide range of research areas and experimental protocols, so your field of study and protocols may require different details than others.
True. Well, I'll look at these guidelines a little more carefully and see if I can fill in the details for my manuscript. Hopefully that will get the paper accepted in the next round of submissions.
Sounds like a plan. Good luck.